Thank you to my long-term subscribers for being here. I wanted to go over two topics that are the future of Star Citizen in a lot of ways. The first is the update to testing. So this is Wikipedia from CIG's team, who does a lot of community relations, especially on the testing side, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen the builds being greenlit or not, and their communications with the community. He does a lot of great work. Much like Evo, there is a brand new invite-only system being assembled. Basically, these tight, smaller groups, select groups as they're called, for gameplay testing. Kind of like a strike force designed to go in and test a specific thing that CIG wants to cover. Now, some are saying, is this the next evolution of Evocati? The test bed that's before the waves when it comes to tech previews or PTU or whatnot. Sometimes CIG even bypasses Evocati and it sends it straight to the waves. Sometimes they don't. A lot of times they don't. My position is it doesn't matter if it replaces it or not. I think CIG is getting more tools in their arsenal, and even if they were to get rid of Evo, they would certainly keep that in their back pocket as another opportunity to widen out their testing capabilities. But at the moment, this indicates to me that CIG needs to test specific things with smaller, dedicated groups that utilize this new survey methodology as part of the feedback loop on the testing. Now, the one unfortunate thing is that it's only invite only. It would have been, I think, a smart move of theirs to poll the community and see who's interested, and then review those people and then invite out of that group. So people that are active, people that are interested in testing specific things. For example, I have some folks in the community I know real well that would love to test different types of armors, clothing designs, and everything. But those same people would not be the people you want to test HOTAS settings on. So if you wanted to test advanced input systems in the community, I would pick somebody different. So anyway, that's kind of my take, at least at this initial moment. Well, more to come on that in the future. This would be under NDA, just like Evo is most of the time. And if you recall, in more recent history, we've added streamers and content creators to Evo, not myself. And they also have waived the NDA for different builds. So they not just can hint or talk about what they see, they can literally record video. So that kind of gave them a leg up on their content creation. Evo kind of became this more diluted situation from build to build, from cycle to cycle as these changed. This seems to be something that would remain under NDA and be stricter about those type of situations. And I hope that some of these groups are based on PvP testing any new content and existing ships. One of my sorest points about Evo is that there is no PvP allowed without consent. Therefore, you cannot have a clean test of how players will interact with each other in any environment that they can fight each other. On foot, on ships, in vehicles. It needs to be tested, especially before the new missions come out that are PvX. Okay, on to something that I have less, controversial takes, I guess some people would argue. I kind of was playing around and Toast was testing out this brand new ship, the Wolf. She was checking it out, and I kind of had some fun with this. I turned my Phoenix into the idea of being a hangar, a module type thing where you have a entertainment area, where you have a place to call in all the operations of a hangar. Because in my pilot seat, I can open and close the doors to the hangar, and having other players having your friends be able and workmates be able to come in and be able to enter and exit your personal hangar in such a way starts making you feel like what the future of Star Citizen is. More mature of a game, more entertaining, larger environments where people can coordinate more. I always go back to games like, of all things, DayZ. And I can remember the modded version, it became extremely desirable to work together because you suddenly wanted vehicles. Well, if you wanted a helicopter on that server and you wanted to be able to keep it, you better work with other people. And then later on with bandits and heroes, way later on, there was even buildings in outposts and stuff you can build. And I think Star Citizen, to me, maturity would be marked by org hangars, or at the very least personal hangars that you can use as an org hangar, or coordinate at the very least with just a group of friends ad hoc. And then also outposts that allow you to have multiple people operating out of them. This to me is the game. I shouldn't need to carry everybody around in a carrier style ship at all times for them to feel like they're part of the group and being able to coordinate together. Yes, it is fun to crew an Idris or a Reclaimer or a variety of other multi-crew larger ships, and the Kraken in the future. However, this to me is the vast majority of the game, and honestly, this is stability. No one can ram this hangar. Well, they can try, but they're very unlikely that's going to be a problem. If there's an issue, there's services here on the station. And still, the org has its own private area separate from your party, from your friends, from your org, from the rest of the environment. So I feel like this is a small glimpse into what we need for this game to mature. So I was trying to do something positive, because I'm nervous that in general, if I start talking about the select group gameplay testing takes, that I do have some good and bad about that in my opinions. But I wanted to just share that I think that there is a lot of good things on the horizon, and, take a little bit of the bitterness out of the environment. And I'll go back one more time to testing in general. I encourage everybody to get on the PTU. I wish it was more accessible in general, and the more active you are, it should reward you faster with access. If people want to test something, let them test it. Let them tear it apart, as long as it doesn't get in the way of what you're trying to build up to and prepare to make the live environment better. Some of the criticisms I've heard in the past of Evo, and in general the first waves, I'll pick on those too, just to be fair, is that very few people stay. CIG representatives themselves have said that people will log in, test out the new mission, or test out the new ship, or check out the new environment, and then they leave. And that's quite a tech debt on the servers. That's a lot of work, a lot of copied accounts, a lot of things that happen that have to happen and put a lot of load on the servers, and surge testing, which is not clean for live testing, which is more continuous gameplay. And my response to that is very simple. Let the active players hop in, and let people who have bought their items use them. I can't stress enough how demoralizing it was years ago when somebody from a testing environment was able to spawn a ship or get a hold of a ship that the owners couldn't even test out themselves in the test environment. That's their prerogative if they want to log in and just test it out, in my opinion. And I think the game in general should encourage people to want to be in testing. There should be more community events in testing, rewards for being in testing. They could be the simplest, tiny little rewards. Take old items that were Bar Citizen giveaways, or other items that were from seasonal giveaways, like a rare knife or something, and make it so anybody who was in testing on the nights that you needed them to want to test out FPS gameplay in general can suddenly just swarm a server, and they can earn that thing just by having a good time. You don't even have to tell them ahead of time that they're going to get a reward. It should maybe be something exciting and unique, and oh goodness. I can remember some of my favorite moments in the history of the project were literally being part of the snarling Vandal groups trying to get the mask. Did we get it? Did we not? Oh, let's go get the Day of the Vara mask. Okay, well, wait a minute. Do we have to touch a specific thing at Bennyhenge? And oh, wait, what's going on? Some of our group never even went there before. Places that they never would have experienced or explored. I have friends still on my list. I have people still to chat with me and hang out with me and fly with me to this day from those events. And that's pretty awesome. And by the way, I believe a test server could become that kind of culture. One of the simplest things CIG could do today is change the methodology for when the live servers come online with the brand new patch. They bring all your added friends from the test server. It is incredibly difficult to keep track of folks. I have folks, I remember one of my hobbies I used to do when I had more time on my hands was I'd literally go in when I could and go into the lobbies of IAE and Invictus. And there, you couldn't even get into most of the time. You couldn't even get into the ship showrooms. But we would all just hang out in the lobby and BS for hours, checking out gear, talking with each other, exploring these new things, talking about what sales we think are going to be great and what's going to be fun to do and where to make some UEC and things like that. Back when people are excited about that, and there's certain times they are. And especially when a new ship is for sale, not a Wicca item only. It's actually for sale in New Deal or in the variety of other locations. But anyway, what matters is plain and simple, giving people reasons to want to log in and work towards things, and then making it feel like those rewards come naturally. An easy win would allow people to take from the test server added friends. An easy win would be giving them a tiny trinket from the past that literally is just sitting in cold storage, and and not something uber rare to upset the collectors, something that many people have already, but they just weren't around for that moment in time. Recolor it, reskin it if you really want to. I know that's extra resources, but if you're that excited, you could do that. That's all I got for now. Please reach out in the comments if you have any questions, Discord, etc. People are still surprised to this day. They can just chat with me anytime. Thank you again to my long-term subscribers. I greatly appreciate you being here.